When all leads have been exhausted, when a case hits a dead end and truly goes cold, authorities call upon us to help bring a killer to justice. I'm going to show you two pieces of evidence from a 1981 murder case, and I want you to study them carefully. The first item is a trouble ticket book belonging to Southwestern Bell Telephone Company, now a subsidiary of AT&T. A repairman or a man posing as a repairman wrote his initials in the corner of this ticket. Look at the style and flair in which they were signed. Authorities have not been able to decipher what these letters are. Do you know, or have you ever known someone that signs their initials in this fashion? The second item is a key ring. The tag measures 4 inches long and 1 inch wide. It was plastic and tortoiseshell colored and had the name Tracy inscribed on the front of it. Have you ever seen this item in a box or in a drawer and thought to yourself that it looked oddly out of place? This key ring was taken as a souvenir by a killer. Both of these items are critical in solving the murder of Tracey Neilson of Moore, Oklahoma, on January 5th, 1981. Here we are again, you and I trying to help solve another senseless murder. Another case where a killer has walked away from punishment. Tracy Waterfield Nielsen was someone's daughter. She was someone's wife. This man had no right to interrupt her life, to take away every dream that she had, and leave such profound grief in the wake of his sick and twisted violence. January 5th should have been a day of celebration. It was Tracy's 21st birthday, a milestone in anyone's life. The momentous occasion is usually filled with well wishes from friends and family. A special day when memories are made and kept forever in the recesses of our mind. But Tracy was robbed of these things. Instead, the beautiful young woman was stabbed over 20 times, butchered in the apartment where she lived with her husband of only 5 months. Tracy's mother, Sandy Waterfield, said, "When people do something like that, they have no idea the number of lives they affect, the damage that they cause. It's just unbelievable." Over the decades, Tracy's family has looked back fondly at her accomplishments. Tracy was an honors student and salutatorian of her graduating class. She was a star basketball player and enjoyed playing on her school's tennis and golf teams, and was even head cheerleader her senior year. The 21-year-old who grew up in the tiny panhandle of Canadian Texas attended the University of Oklahoma, where she was studying to be a physical therapist. It was during her freshman year that she met Jeffrey Nielsen on a blind date. Jeff was going to medical school to become an orthopedic surgeon. The two were a match made in heaven and quickly fell in love and married. In an interview, Jeff lovingly described his wife as beautiful, funny, intelligent, and the kind of person that people just gravitated towards. So what could have put Tracy in harm's way? Was she targeted? Was it a random killing? What could have provoked a madman to take this young woman's life in such a horrific way? This is what we know about the day of Tracy's murder. Tracy and Jeff's duplex was located at Jamestown Square on Northwest 10th Street in Moore, Oklahoma. Jeff left early that morning to attend classes all day. Police verified that he spent the entire day at the university and was never considered a suspect in his wife's murder. Tracy went grocery shopping after breakfast and was seen doing chores that morning by other tenants. Police stated that although there was no scheduled cable repair at the Jamestown Square apartments that day, they believe that this is how the killer was able to gain access to his victim. Neighbors told police that they remembered seeing a dark-haired man around the Nielsen apartment at around noon. Tracy's family said that she was very friendly and trusting and most likely opened the door to her killer. This would explain why there was no forced entry. If we look at the time entered on the trouble ticket, it reads 11:51. This would also have been around the same time that Tracy's family was calling to wish her a happy birthday, and those calls were going unanswered. We can then assume that this is when the attack on Tracy began. This time frame also fits neighbors' observation of the dark-haired man near the apartment. According to Jeff, he went to Oklahoma City after his classes to purchase Tracy a bottle of perfume for her birthday and didn't arrive home until 5 p.m. He remembered that the door to the apartment was unlocked. Upon entering, he saw that Tracy had laid out lobster tails for her birthday dinner. Jeff had planned to cook for her and spend a romantic evening at home. There was nothing about the interior of the apartment to alert Jeff to what he was about to find. No furniture had been overturned, no trail of blood on the floor, just an eerie silence. As Jeff moved into the master bedroom, Tracy could be seen lying face up on their blood-soaked bed. She was wearing jeans, a plaid shirt, and no shoes. Later examination of her body would show that Tracy had not been sexually assaulted. Beyond the 20 stab wounds she sustained to the chest, Tracy's throat had been slashed. Jeff recalled going crazy for a minute. He had this to say about the horrific scene displayed upon the bed. During my years of medical school, I was dissecting cadavers, but nothing prepares you for that. It was horrible. Unable to look at his wife's lifeless body a moment longer, Jeff fled the apartment and ran down the street to his friend's house to call 911. Moore Police Lieutenant Ray Homer said that it was a very senseless killing, and it baffled investigators as to why it happened. No forced entry, no struggle, no robbery. The brazen killer attacked in broad daylight while neighbors were at home and seemed unfazed that he had been observed by witnesses. The medical examiner reported that Tracy's time of death would have been between 4 to 6 hours before she was found, which would have been shortly after the time that had been entered on the repairman's ticket. The theory that seemed most logical at the time was that Tracy's killer became enraged when she refused to submit to a rape attempt. A knife was brought to the scene and was most likely brandished to take control of the victim. Details about the knife were kept from the public, either to eliminate false confessions or to prevent copycat killings. In general, whenever forensic teams enter a bloody crime scene such as this one, a study of blood splatters will be used to determine the amount of force used in the stabbing and the direction of the attack. They would also be looking for blood that was not consistent with Tracy's, as it's common for a perpetrator to accidentally cut himself during the attack. Investigators were able to retrieve one unidentified fingerprint from the crime scene. Police have stated that the ticket book belonging to Southwestern Bell Telephone Company was probably stolen with the sole purpose of using it to gain entry into area homes. There were 2 different descriptions given to police by Tracy's neighbors of the man that they saw near her door shortly before she was killed, and here they are. The first witness described the man as being in his late 20s, 5 feet 9 inches tall, 155 pounds, curly dark brown hair, and a day's growth of beard. The second witness described the man as being in his early 30s, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 150 to 170 pounds. Short black hair worn military style with short sideburns. He was wearing a black nylon waist-length jacket and dark slacks. Many rewards have been offered over the decades, and police have followed up on over 1,500 leads in Tracey Neilson's case. They are now focusing on these two key pieces of evidence and hope the public can help lead them to an arrest. Let's take one more look at the evidence, paying close attention to the details. In a pledge to hunt down Tracy's killer, Jeff Nielsen's family helped OSBI convince state legislators to pass a law to fund the state's first automated fingerprint identification system. On May 25, 1994, the AFIS was dedicated to Tracey Neilson. Unfortunately, the fingerprint found at Tracy's crime scene still remains unidentified. However, the system has led to hundreds of other perpetrators being apprehended for crimes in Oklahoma. Here is more of what Jeff Nielsen and Tracy's sister Cindy had to say about her murder.
There's a huge emotional burden that's placed on the family, the extended family, and everyone that her life touched. I really think that in all likelihood this is a random event. The only thing that goes against that is the ravaged nature of the crime.
To live with the fact that we may never know who took her life that day. And we have to wonder every day why, why did they do that? How could they do that?
Eye on Justice is asking you to help Tracey Neilson's loved ones find the person responsible for taking her life on January 5th, 1981 in Moore, Oklahoma. If you have any information concerning Tracy's murder, please contact the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation at 405-848-6724 or the OSBI confidential tip line at 1-800-522-8017. Are you obsessed with true crime content? Subscribe now and join our growing community as we analyze and discuss the details of some truly baffling cold cases. Browse our growing library of cold case investigations and immerse yourself in the mysteries that keep us up at night. Subscribe and join the EOJ community today. All it takes is a click.